Hey everyone, this is Mr. Odell, and this video is for AP Government, and it is a short little talk about federalism. You can see over there that we're going to talk about four different things. What is federalism? Some provisions of federalism. Where do we find federalism in the Constitution? Some of the power associated with federalism. And then I want to touch base on grants and aid. That's federal money that they use for federalism. So let's begin and let's talk about exactly what is federalism. That is, power is divided between the national and state governments. This got its origin from the rule of law, the whole majority rule, minority rights, all that, the separation of powers. That's one of the reasons we read Federalist number 51, is to start seeing this separation, and that this separation was used in American government in various forms, such as the separation of powers of the three branches, separation between the national government and the state governments. And I'm just taking a quick look here. Nope, feel good about all that so far, so you should too. So power is divided between the national and the state governments. So let's take a look at that and see exactly what that means. So let's take a look at the provisions. And this is where things get a little, I don't want to say confusing, but trying to think of all these different things. So we have Article 1, Sections 8 and 9, Articles 4 and 6, the Ninth Amendment, and the 10th Amendment. So all these are dealing with federalism. So Article 1, Section 8 is everything Congress can do. Article 1, Section 9 is everything Congress can't do, which is left to the states. Articles 4 and 6 deal with the full faith and credit, the immunities and privileges clause, the supremacy clause. So those are some clauses that we should be thinking about, especially the supremacy clause, where the Constitution is the law of the land when it comes to federal and state. The Ninth Amendment, which says anything that's not in the Constitution is left to the people. And the 10th Amendment, which says anything that's not in the Constitution is left to the states. So this is how we get our structure for federalism. We know what Congress can do. We know what it can't do. We know what states can do. We know what they can't do. We know how we're supposed to be honoring other states' rights. And a good example, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, was the Defense of Marriage Act, how some states were not allowing that marriage, a marriage between anybody that was not just a man and a woman together. The federal government said you can't do that. The states were arguing. There was a lot of court cases until finally Congress just wrote a law and said, yes, you do not have to be just a singular man and a singular woman getting married for it to be valid. And now the states can't do anything about that because that is the supremacy clause now kicking in. So that's why you see Articles 4 and 6 coming into play, Articles 1, Section 8, 9. And we'll talk a little bit more about Article 1, Section 8 and the necessary and proper clause, along with the commerce clause. We start talking about some court cases that deal with federalism. So let's see what's next, because this is really exciting. This is really good. This is good stuff, huh? Power. So let's take a look at some power of what we have. We have three types of power that you need to understand. There is a enumerated power, there's concurrent power, and reserved power. Enumerated power is just power that is there. It is written down, it's spelled out. You know exactly what this power is. It is not up for debate. It's there. And that's what you'll find in Article 1, Section 8. Congress shall have the power to. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Concurrent power is power that is shared between the national government and the states. And then reserved power are sometimes considered police powers. It's kind of varies. I like reserved a lot better because it's not just always police powers. Reserved powers are powers that just the state has that you might find in Article 1, Section 9, the Ninth Amendment, things like that. And the best way Everybody does it this way. Every textbook, everybody creates the Venn diagram of power. So you should probably look one up. They're everywhere. I'm not trying to hide this. I'm not trying to make it like, oh, how dare you look something up? No, just go look it up. You'll see. Look at a few of them and see exactly what powers they're mentioning. Some of the most common ones for the federal government: coin money, declare war, regulate commerce. The states, the big one is education, elections. States are supposed to be running elections. It's not in the power of the federal government. And the biggest concurrent powers are taxes. Okay, both the federal and state government tax you, and both make laws. So that's kind of how that plays out. As I said, just take a look at a few of them, and you'll just get a hint, and you're like, oh, okay. Because I can tell you right now, you will see this Venn diagram again. It's going to be there. It doesn't go away. So we're not going to try recreating it because there it is. It's right there. Another power to think about, but not so much right now, is implied powers. That's power that is not there, but you think you have it. Okay. That comes with the necessary and proper clause. So we should be thinking about that a little bit as well, but it'll come into play a little bit later on. I'm just checking everything to make sure I've got that. Got that. Yep. Yep. Okay. I think we got one topic left and we're done. There it is, grants and aid. Who said this is going to be difficult? It's pretty straightforward. So let's talk about grants and aid. This is how the federal government can get around federalism a little bit because they have something that everybody wants, and that is money. The federal government collects a lot of money through income tax. The states don't collect as much because they have a smaller population. The federal government's drawing from everybody in America. Arizona is only drawing from a smaller pool. But there's two types of federalism that we want to be thinking about. And this whole concept of the money is considered fiscal federalism, but there's two parts to that. There is dual federalism and cooperative federalism. And you're going to see this on the AP exam, you'll see it in your textbook, and you'll see it other places where dual federalism is compared to a layer cake. Layer cake, each layer is there, and the layers don't mix. So that means dual. That means if I'm the federal government and you're the states, I'm doing exactly what I need to do. You're doing what you need to do, and we're really not going to work together, or we're not going to mix. I will do what I said I would do, and you're going to do exactly what you said you would do. And that's it. Cooperative federalism is where we're going to work together. And I'll throw in some money, you'll throw in some money, and we'll get this done. And the example that you'll see there is of a marble cake. If you've ever seen a marble cake, it's kind of all mixed, where a layer cake is not. So that's a good thing to be thinking about when you think about these and what is going to be transpiring here between dual and cooperative federalism. Then there's a couple different ways you can get your money. There's a categorical grant, which means that I'm going to give you some money, but there'll be strings attached, and you'll have to do the things I want you to do in order to keep getting this money or to even get the money. States don't like that so much. A good example, and it's not a good example, it's just an example. Let's say Arizona applies for money to help the homeless. Valid, excellent use of money, perfect. But the federal government says, yeah, we have a categorical grant for the homeless, and we are asking that you buy jackets and boots and other winter wear items. Okay, we have zero need for that. Now, places like Minnesota, Maine, they need that. That doesn't do us any good here. We need sunscreen and water primarily. So that categorical grant isn't going to work for us, and the federal government's not going to change it. That's how you get that money. A block grant is what states really like, and that's where the federal government says, hey, here's some money for homeless. we need you to spend the money on homelessness and curbing it or helping, making sure that they're getting services and that. Okay, great. So we get a bunch of money here in Arizona. Now we're able to buy water. We're buying sunscreen. We're buying hats, lightweight shirts, things that we need here in Arizona where other states don't. But they're spending the money on what they need to spend it on. And that's the money states really like, is the block grant. It's a bunch of money, spend it how you need to spend it, and go from there. The last one is mandates. Now, I'm only going to touch base on one mandate because I'm running out of time, and that is the unfunded mandate. And here's what they do. Here's what the federal government does. We really want you to do this. Okay? We're not going to pay for it. We just need you to do it. But if you don't do it, you will lose this other pot of money. And states and cities are like, well, what do you mean? Just what we said. You have to do A in order to get B and C money. And if you don't do A, you're never going to see money for B or C. An example in Arizona, raise your speed limit, or actually lower the speed limit. We're driving too fast, spending too much gas. This was in the 70s. Gas was a big problem. Prices were soaring. It was like over $1 a gallon. It was ridiculous. Shortages. And the federal government said, you need to change the speed limit. Well, that means you had to go through and change every single speed limit sign in your state. And that's costly. And the federal government, yeah, it's okay, great. You do it. Oh, but if you don't do that, you won't get any more highway funding. And Arizona said, yeah, we're okay. We're a smaller state. We don't have that many people. We'll be fine. We were not fine. So that's an unfunded mandate. And that's the one the states don't like because that impacts other money if you don't do that. Raising the drinking age at one point, the federal government said, you're just going to do it. Well, that means we have to rewrite laws and do all these other things. Yeah, that's okay. Go get it done. So, all right, that was federalism in a part one of federalism. There's three parts to it. So this was the first part, and this was the part that I want you to think about. This is the relationship between the states. So this is all being laid out in the Constitution, Article 1, Sections 8 and 9, Articles 4 and 6, Ninth Amendment, 10th Amendment. We've got cooperative federalism. We get dual federalism. We talked about the provisions. We talked about power, enumerated power, and so forth. So those things are all there. Watch this. If you have questions, take a look at your textbook. Be prepared to talk about this, and then we can move on to part two the next time we meet. So again, if you ever have any comments, questions, or concerns, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and everybody have a great day. Take care.